UFC Vegas 67. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Main event, Sean Strickland versus Nasruddin Imavov. Cannot wait for this card. We're back with a vengeance. Going to be doing the Fight Companion live Saturday for the entire event. Make sure you guys tune into that. Smash the likes here. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. And let's jump into the first fight of the night. It is Jimmy Flick versus Charles Johnson. I'm riding with Charles Johnson. I have been throughout the entire week. The scales are not going to do much to sway me. I will say Jimmy Flick looks a bit like a scarecrow. He is shredded out and like mad sucked in for this 125-pound weight class. He's naturally a very thin guy though. There's the face-off between these two. We'll get to it quick, but I actually got to pull up Charles Johnson up top. Yeah, he looks healthier at 125. I really feel like Charles Johnson has a good shot of sleeping Jimmy Flick. He's been knocked out 4 times previously. Yes, he has very good jiu-jitsu. He's been out of the game about 2 years. He retired from the sport. Now he's coming back to fight a guy in Charles Johnson who I think is starting to find his footing in the UFC, who I do feel like is a hard matchup because he's got quality grappling defense, and I do see him with a serious striking advantage. I think he takes advantage of that. Expect full arsenal of stand-up skills on display for Johnson, and I'm thinking a knockout here for Charles Johnson over Jimmy Flick. As far as the betting odds, they reflect my confidence. They're crazy wide. You're looking at around minus 360, minus 350 Charles Johnson, Jimmy Flick upwards of plus 295, upwards of plus 315. He's a really big underdog. I don't think he has much of a shot. I think we're going under 2.5 rounds, which is minus 180. I think that's a sneaky over-under to consider. Also, Johnson to win via KO. It is only at plus 105, but I think it's pretty likely here. I'm expecting a knockout. Charles Johnson is kind of in that like unplayable money line zone, but it's a real high confidence pick. I expect him to win, and I am going to call KO. He's getting it done inside distance. So if you're feeling Johnson by KO, you can look at that under 2.5 at minus 180. I think that's going to be a potentially good way to play it. But yeah, Charles Johnson to start the night off with extremely high confidence. Let's keep running up the card. Next matchup, Daniel Argueta versus Nick Aguirre. Short notice replacement. I got to respect Nick Aguirre for taking this fight in just days' notice. Isaac Dalgalarian pulls out. I was really excited for that stylistic matchup. Aguirre comes into this fight having not really been in there with anybody all that top caliber. You look at the opponent level, nobody to note, right? The best guy, 4-2 fighter. And that was not even a month ago, which was his last fight. He's a good grappler. He brings in nice takedowns. He has good control on the ground, and he's going to look for submissions. Argueta is a very good wrestler. He also is pretty scrappy with the striking game, and he's a guy that does not stop when he's standing up. He's got a ton of heart, brings a lot of forward pressure. Yes, he's a mad wide favorite. He's my pick for sure, Dan Argueta, to get the win here and get himself his first victory inside of the octagon. I say he gets it done. Probably, I'm thinking it will be a later TKO. Could see it going the full 3, but I'm going to lean Argueta knockout. Kind of more leaning towards like a fatigued Aguirre getting beaten up with shots later in the fight. So we'll call 3rd round knockout. Let's pull up the scales here and look at these guys. You can see Nick Aguirre coming in. He looks soft, man. This is a very short notice fight for him. It gets him in the UFC door. So obviously I'm happy for the guy at the chance, but I think he's going to get beaten up here. And then Argueta shredded, ready to go. Been dreaming of this fight, and he's ready for this short notice opponent. I will say, look at the height difference, right? Argueta, he's more of a 35er. He's fighting at 45. Aguirre looks pretty big, but we haven't seen him fight anybody of caliber. And you know what? The Damon Jackson loss for Dan Argueta, to me, brings confidence. I like the way that he was able to come strong on Damon Jackson later in that fight. So Argueta, high confidence. It's an unplayable line. You're looking at minus 450 best value, plus 425 for Nick Aguirre. Yeah, there's not a bet to really place there with money lines in this one. If you're looking at prop side of things, I'm really not even recommending touching this fight. We're kind of in Shitsville, USA with it. Probably over a round and a half, which is like minus 122 best value. Argueta to win via KO, plus 200. I don't like it at all. I hate this betting fight. Like, I hate betting this fight whatsoever because Argueta's way too wide of a favorite. Aguirre's coming on short notice. We're probably ending inside of the distance, which is minus 225, but maybe Aguirre somehow lasts to that final bell. So the confidence is high on Argueta. Stylistically, I think it's a favorable matchup. I am going to call KO TKO, but the betting side of things is just shit as far as value does go, unless you want to risk it on the over 1.5, which I think probably can happen. And I'm going to say does happen, but I'm not feeling great about throwing down on that one. But Argueta to get it done with high confidence in our second fight on the card. Let's keep on running. Next one. Allan Nascimento and Carlos Hernandez. I like the Nascimento side. I think he's got the grappling edge when it gets to the floor. How's it going to go there? I could see Nascimento pulling guard. I could see Nascimento even working trips in. And I feel like in the stand-up department, boxing's a little bit towards Hernandez, favorable-wise. And then I think the kicking skill set towards Nascimento. But I'm going X-Factor Nascimento, having being in with, a Dagestani, Tagir Ulanbekov, and, nearly winning that fight. It was a super close, kind of odd matchup where Nascimento's doing more from the bottom. He gets a W in the last one. I think he's getting a W in this one. I'm kind of leaning towards decision, but I feel like submission isn't a bad idea. So I've been on Nascimento throughout the whole week. We'll look at the scales. There is Carlos Hernandez, who actually looks pretty good. There's Nascimento, who looks lean and mean. And he needs that blonde hair back, though, man. Bring back the blonde. See that size advantage for him, a bit taller. Yeah, I like the chances for a Nascimento win. But he's a wide favorite, too. We got some mad wide favorites to start this card off. Nascimento minus 320. Hernandez plus 290. I'm looking at submission here because you know what? Value-wise and likelihood, right? It's there, plus 225, maybe. Nascimento via decision is only at plus 125. So if you wanted to stretch it towards the sub side, plus 225. I do think there's a good chance, though, that it does go the full 3, but not really feeling the over 2.5 here because of the submission skill set Nascimento brings. Maybe over 1.5, but that's minus 290. I don't like it. Nascimento, money line attack is your best bet. The value sucks. Definitely look at that more so as a parlay piece, but I do feel pretty damn good about Nascimento getting his hand raised, and he looked quality on the scales as well. So interesting fight here. But yeah, Nascimento with high confidence, guys. Let's keep running. Next fight of the night, Mateus Mendonça versus Javid Basharat. Listen, I'm high confidence with Javid Basharat. I consider him one of the most confident picks this week. Nothing is going to change as far as the scales. You look at the side of, well, they got the fucking different order than I do. Where's our guy Basharat? There he is. There's Mateus Mendonça right there. Blue hair and face tat. He's a savage. There is Basharat looking lean and ready to rock. There's an intense stare down between these two. You see that size difference. It favors the side of Basharat a little bit taller. I think from the outside, he'll have the advantage, especially in the kicking department. I do think he'll pick apart Mendonça from range, but Mendonça, the style that he brings with aggressive Muay Thai, I think he's going to get confident and maybe even overzealous, trying to close that gap and hurt Javid Basharat, and I actually think there's a chance he does get put out here. Been leaning win via decision for Basharat throughout the week, but I don't know. If you look at the way Mendonça, is finishing fights for the vast majority, granted, yes, the competition level is not all that high. I do expect him to bring a high pace. The KO might be there as far as prop betting it, but money line Basharat is where you'll find the value at. My official pick is going to be Basharat win decision, but the KO prop might be something. It's around minus 295 money line for Basharat, plus 285 range for Mendonça. I do think we're going over around and a half, which is minus 200. Let's see. Basharat wins by decision is plus 160, but Basharat by KO is where the value's at. It's plus 480. I can see Mendonça getting his lights put out by Basharat. Not saying to go ballistic on that line. The money line is what I would recommend, but the value's not great on it. Likelihood is there, very high likelihood, but the value's ugly. He's in that minus 300 or more range, which isn't a great money line bet, but it's definitely a parlay piece, and I do think Basharat's going to get his hand raised and beat Mateus Mendonça. Method of victory, I'll call decision. Prop bet, I don't think it's a bad idea. If you're looking for more of that Hail Mary sniper type attack, you sprinkle the line KO at plus 480. Basharat's got some finishing skills, and I mean, it's not impossible he wins by sub either, which I guess I'll have to mention the sub line real quick just because I said that. Basharat wins by sub plus 255. Less likely, though, in my personal opinion. And then inside of the distance, Basharat only plus 150. Yeah, the KO prop would be the only prop I'd touch, and that's just for value. Money line, Javid Basharat. I think he outstrikes Mateus Mendonça and gets himself another win in the UFC, and he's really good. He's a prospect to keep a close eye on, guys. Next fight of the night, Mateus Rębecki and Nick Fiore. Listen, Fiore hasn't fought anybody. The pick's been Rębecki all week. I think he's going to control on the ground. There's too many unknowns with Nick Fiore. Now, the crazy-ass wide line might tempt you to jump on it at around plus 570 and then Rębecki at minus 705. I mean, if you want to throw a little something down, like small money, a sprinkle on Nick Fiore, for the possibility, right? $20 is going to get you some big plus coming back your way. I don't think it's an awful idea, but I do think Rębecki's probably going to run him over, but he's just a disgustingly wide favorite. These lines here, I feel like I'm looking at a fucking boxing event with these crazy ass lines. Let me pull up Nick Fiore. There is Nick Fiore. There is Mateus Rębecki. Rębecki's pretty jacked up. And there's the face-off. Fiore does look confident. I mean, you can't fully sleep on the dude. He's still unbeaten as a pro. Hasn't fought anybody all that good, really. But he's going to find out. Rębecki, 16-1. Beast with his control. Very physically strong guy. I think he will have the wrestling advantage here. So I'm going to go Rębecki, but I'm not suggesting anybody money line him. I'm not suggesting anybody go attack that play. It's like your long shot parlay and holding that place with hope. There's no money to be made on it. There's more money betting the fucking dog side, which, yeah, he probably ends up losing. But big underdog like that, $20 you want to throw down, I wouldn't call you crazy for doing such a thing. Now, as far as prop betting it, I don't like anything, man. I don't like this fight to bet. Rębecki to win decision is plus 405. I could see Fiore going the full 3. That's a wide line. Rębecki wins inside of the distance, minus 225. Over a round and a half, plus 130. I feel like Nick Fiore can go over a round and a half. Yes, sniper, calling it right now, live. Over a round and a half, plus 130, not a bad idea. I actually think that's a sneaky little play at plus money because I think the likelihood's there. I'd expect it more at minus 125. I'm actually a little bit surprised they think that this fight's not going over that round and a half. I mean, Fiore is pretty good on the floor from what I've seen, from what we've heard. Yes, Rębecki's probably better and going to win the fight. I don't see him just running him over in a round. I think he can go a round and a half. So over a round and a half is a sneaky play that I'm going to say yes to. And I think the Rębecki money line is crazy, so you're probably not touching it. But we're going Mateus Rębecki to win. The over 1.5 is a decent little over-under, little prop action. And then if you want to sprinkle Fiore for the crazy-ass upset, you can. But don't be disappointed when it doesn't come through because most likely it's not. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight, our featured prelim of the night, Razak Alhassan versus Claudio Ribeiro. Now, something about Ribeiro that concerns me a little bit is he can't get the exact weight cut down. He's coming in under the limit a bit, which, I mean, not the end of the world, but he's got to get that weight cut on point. You don't want to cut excess weight. There's no purpose for it. I'm going to go Ribeiro. I've been going with him all week. I think there's a fair chance that he can get the KO, but there's Razak Alhassan. There is Ribeiro. He looks pretty fucking jacked, though. Holy shit. And there's the face-off. Guys, I think this right here is the fight to watch. This might end up being fight of the night. I think somebody's getting flatlined here. I'm calling the under for sure. I'm going to say it's going to be win KO for Claudio Ribeiro. He's a slight underdog, so plus 100. He was the dog of the week, the pseudo dog, but at this point, he's a real deal dog. Alhassan, a little bit of the favorite. I think the power of Ribeiro can come through, and I think he can find that chin of Alhassan and flatline him here. I think we're looking at a fight that ends under 2.5 is disgusting. It's minus 440. Under a round and a half, minus 215. I don't like that either, but Ribeiro to win KO. Let's talk about it. It's plus 128. Yeah, it's not that good. Ribeiro money line. I like the slight plus money. I'd rather attack a money line than hope, on that prop, which it's probably going to be a KO, but it's barely much more plus. So I would rather just stay on the safer side, if somehow Ribeiro ends up winning a decision or something like that. So go Ribeiro money line, the official, favorite dog little attack for this matchup. I think at plus 100, it's not bad. And I'm going to say that he does get it done. I'm picking him to win, and I'm feeling pretty damn good about Ribeiro flatlining Razak Alhassan. Scary debut fight because you got power versus power. Somebody's going unconscious. That under 2.5 is unplayable at minus 440, which sucks. I wanted to play it, but it is what it is. Ribeiro, though, we're going to call him KO, and I'll recommend more so the money line. Let's keep running, and let's jump to the main card. If you guys haven't, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Umar Nurmagomedov and Hani Barcelos. This fight has me excited. It's Umar Nurmagomedov as the official pick for sure. He's going to out-wrestle Barcelos for 3 rounds. Come on, guys. Yes, the odds are stupid. They're way too wide, but let's be realistic here. I don't think Barcelos wins this fight. I think it's very unlikely that he catches Umar and flatlines him. Minus 840, Barcelos plus 660. I don't see Barcelos having the sub skills to win by submission. He would need a KO. I don't think it's likely that he'd find the chin of Umar Nurmagomedov. I could see Umar competing with him on the feet. I'm going to say Umar brings a pretty grind-heavy chain wrestling attack to secure himself a unanimous decision. So I like Umar to win. Yes, he's a little bit too wide of a favorite. Let's see if we can find these guys here. There is Hani Barcelos. There is Umar Nurmagomedov. And there's the face-off. Umar's got that height on him too. I think Umar's striking will actually look decent here. But when he wants to, he is going to take down Barcelos and expect it to happen. I'm saying we're going to see Umar win. And I'm going to say decision. You're not touching the money line because it's just way too fucking wide. So we're looking at the side of, all right, I want to play something. Decision, minus 165. I don't want to tell you guys to run out and play a minus 165 prop, but I think that's probably how it gets done. Umar Nurmagomedov is an extremely confident pick for the vast majority of people. Probably win via decision. But he's unplayable money line. I wish we could attack the money line. Maybe in like a crazy long shot parlay, but you're still getting barely any value if you included him in it. So, yeah, Umar Nurmagomedov, yes, the pick to win. I'm confident that he gets his hand raised, but no, the odds suck. It's not really a playable money line. Over 2.5 is minus 230. So maybe we go over 2.5. I'm thinking that it goes over 2.5. Then at that point, it's like maybe play the, decision prop for Umar Nurmagomedov. So over 2.5 or decision prop. Don't love either of them, but I'm confident that both probably come through. Just the value isn't all that much. And looking at money line, you ain't touching it at minus 1,000. Minus 840 is the best you'll find, and that is terrible. Super wide favorite, Umar Nurmagomedov. Should get the win over Barcelos. It's crazy to see Barcelos really this big of a dog. After one point, people really had him like looking at like, oh, is this the next Jose Aldo? And then loses to Victor Henry. And then what was the last loss here? It was, before that it was Timur Valiev, then Victor Henry. The Victor Henry loss is what kind of, we lost confidence in him. Then Trevin Jones, he wins that fight, but I'm not overly hyped about that win. I mean, Trevin Jones is all right, but he's no Umar Nurmagomedov. Dominant performance, Umar Nurmagomedov. He gets his hand raised. Team Dagestan, baby. You guys already know. Next fight on the card, Ketlen Vieira versus Raquel Pennington. I like Ketlen Vieira, guys. She's been my pick all week. I think that she's going to beat Rocky Pennington. And I really think Ketlen Vieira is that next challenger to Amanda Nunes. We need fresh blood at the top of the weight class. If you look at the scales here, there is Rocky Pennington, who's on a good little roll right now. And then there's Ketlen Vieira, both girls looking intense. And a nice little face-off there between them. Yeah, I think Ketlen Vieira is going to win the striking exchanges. And I think, I always say Raquel Pennington is kind of like the queen of the clinch. I really feel like Ketlen Vieira can match her with that clinch strength. So I'm going to go Vieira, win, decision. The odds are damn close in this one. They're near pick'ems. You're looking at about minus 117 best value for Vieira. Raquel Pennington at about plus 111. I like Ketlen Vieira to get it done. I'm going to say she does it on the scorecards. Win via decision. I like money line. That's what I would touch. But if you do want to play that decision prop, it is plus 155. Just something to mention. But Ketlen Vieira to get it done. And I think the winner of this fight is fighting Amanda Nunes. And I believe it's going to be Ketlen Vieira Nunes, which is a great fight. That's high stakes, and this is a new opponent. I don't want to see the rematch between Rocky Pennington and Amanda Nunes all that much. I need new blood fighting Amanda Nunes, and I think Ketlen Vieira is going to be the perfect challenger for her. Expect that fight, if she does get it done, probably in the third quarter, maybe fourth quarter of 2023. But we're riding with Ketlen Vieira to get the victory. Let's get to the featured bout of the night. Another fight that I'm feeling pretty excited for. Punahele Soriano and Roman Kopylov. I'm going Puna. I've been on him throughout the week. I consider him, a lock of the week. Him and also Ketlen Vieira have been high confidence on both these two, especially with the value lines. Of course, I could say Umar Nurmagomedov, lock of the week. There's no value at minus 1,000. I'm not giving you guys those type of locks. But valuable lock, Punahele Soriano. I think he can beat Roman Kopylov here. Power advantage. I do think a physical strength edge. And honestly, the boxing combos, I favor Soriano. Yeah, the kickboxing from Kopylov is pretty good, especially from the outside. But I see him getting hit way too much against subpar stand-up fighters. Soriano's got some real pop. And then people say, oh, but he lost to Nick Maximov. Stylistically, that's a whole different fight. That's wrestling heavy, jiu-jitsu heavy attack, right? Not the exact same. Yes, Brendan Allen, that fight, Allen outstruck the hell out of him. It was a great performance by Allen. Could people maybe be trying to compare Roman Kopylov to a Brendan Allen? I think it's a different level. I think Soriano is getting better, and I also think his explosiveness is going to be real here, and Kopylov just too hittable. So I'll go Soriano to win. I'm going to say actually knockout. I think he's going to bust up Kopylov's nose, and I think he's going to hurt him with big punches and put him out. So we're going Punahele Soriano to get the hand raised. There is Roman Kopylov, who looks a little bit like Chase Hooper. He looks like Chase Hooper got on some TRT. That's how he looks, honestly. And then there is Punahele lat spread Soriano over here. That's funny as hell. That's the lat spread, baby. Let's go. There's the face-off. Should be an interesting fight. Very excited for this matchup. One of the most exciting fights for me on the whole card, for sure. I'm highly excited. Not just because it's like a high-confidence pick, but I actually really like the stylistic matchup. Soriano around minus 142. Kopylov plus 135. Yeah, we're going Punahele Soriano. What's the KO prop? What's the KO prop looking like? Soriano to win via KO. Plus 190. Okay. Plus 190 is all right. Soriano by KO at plus 190 is playable. Yeah. I do think he's going to get the KO. Over a round and a half. Ooh, I'm finding myself in risky territory here because I think it could probably go on over a round and a half too. Minus 150. Imagine you grow the ultimate balls. You go Soriano money line. You go over a round and a half. And you go Soriano knockout. You get yourself some nice cash flow. But yeah, high risk if you're doing such a thing. I think moneyline attack is great. KO, a little bit of sprinkle. And maybe that over 1.5 because I'm kind of thinking Soriano might get it done towards the end of the second or even in the third round. Could see it more of like an accumulation of heavy punches on Kopylov as opposed to just one shot that flatlines him. Granted, I do think Soriano has a bit of pop that he could flatline a Kopylov with one shot. And by no means is Kopylov chinny either. But I just think Soriano's bringing the heat with the hands. So Soriano for the win. And we're going to say KO. Co-main event. Dan Ige, Damon Jackson. I'm excited as hell for this fight. I'm going Dan Ige. Yes, you look at, the win streak versus the losing streak. We got 3 down for Dan Ige. We got 4 in a row for Damon Jackson. I've been picking Dan Ige. I do think he's got the boxing tools to win this fight. Power in his hands, yes. I think he could flatline a Damon Jackson later in the fight. More so, actually, I say flatline, but I'm going to take that back. I'm going to walk my steps back for a second. More so, it's going to be like an accumulation of shots type knockout where he lands one big one and then follows up with more, puts Jackson down and puts a stamp on it, finishes him off, nail in the coffin. I'm saying Dan Ige via knockout. He's been in there with some of the best and he's gone long. I think he can beat Damon Jackson, especially in the stand-up. I know Damon Jackson is pretty decent with his wrestling, but I really feel like Dan Ige is going to be able to defend those attacks. So I'm going Dan Ige to win. As far as the scales, Damon Jackson just looks crazy as fuck on the scale. Holy shit. Dan Ige looking, slightly psychotic, but not nearly as psycho. Then there's a little face off there. Yeah, I'm going Dan Ige to crack that chin. I think he gets it done. As far as the odds, near even money, minus 124 Ige, plus 112 Damon Jackson. Okay. Money line, not a bad attack on Dan Ige for value. Not like the lock of the week or any shit, but I do think he's going to get it done. The KO side for Ige is only plus 300. I thought it'd be higher. Plus 300, though, is okay. I do think Dan Ige is going to get the KO. I will say it's going to be a scrap. This is a very interesting matchup. Betting-wise, how I look at it, Dan Ige's lost 3 in a row, so the momentum is against him. Yes, he's the pick, but maybe not, the greatest bet of all time for the simple fact that he's down a few. Personally, kind of feeling like you got to just at least throw a little something on Dan Ige. I like the stylistic matchup for him, and I do think he's going to beat Damon Jackson, who's on a nice roll right now. Because, I mean, if you put Damon Jackson in Dan Ige's shoes, he's probably losing to all the guys that Dan Ige lost to, and I would say Dan Ige is probably beating all the guys that Damon Jackson beat. So Dan Ige to win, and we're going to call it a later knockout, second or third round. Maybe some body work. Take a little bit, of Toporia's book and copy that tactic. Attack low and then come high. I think Dan Ige can win. And probably multiple shot KO, TKO maybe. We'll call it knockout, though. Official pick for this matchup. And let's talk the main event of the evening. If you guys haven't, smash the likes. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss a thing here on the MMA Experts channel. Tons of content dropping. All right, so it's Sean Strickland, Nasruddin Imavov, short notice fight. Sean Strickland comes in. Let's talk about it. 10 pounds heavier than Nasruddin Imavov, who comes in at 194. I am picking the side of Sean Strickland. Yes, of course, a little bit of concern, absolutely, but he's been in there with the best in the world, just went long against a top-rated guy in Jared Cannonier, and a lot of people felt that he won that fight. Nasruddin Imavov is a good fighter. He's on a nice 3-fight win streak. I think Strickland's going to have success with the hands. I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on Imavov. If there's one thing that I've always been questioning about Imavov, especially looking back at previous fights, the gas tank. In that third round, he slows down. He looks at the clock. This is 5 rounds. Now, on the contrary to that, Sean Strickland's taking this fight on very short notice, but he is a crazy motherfucker. I'd consider him a psychopath. He is sparring all the time. So I do feel like he's got the 5-round shape down, even if he's not in the specialized training camp. Now, we don't have a draining weight cut for Sean Strickland or Nasruddin Imavov. So much so that Sean Strickland is 10 pounds heavier. What's the power of Sean Strickland going to look like at 205? Could he potentially even knock out a Nasruddin Imavov? That's a question that I'm kind of thinking. I feel like Sean Strickland's coming with heavy hands and maybe even gets a KO here. Like, can I really pick Sean Strickland to win by a decision on real short notice? I think he could do it, but I'm kind of thinking we go 3rd round knockout Sean Strickland. I'm going against the grain and I'm going the KO side, which might be fucking nuts, but I think Sean Strickland can do this thing. Now, Imavov looks fucking jacked as fuck and intimidating. I'm not arguing that. Sean Strickland, I'll be honest, he looks like he could be fucking just getting home from eating some, McDonald's. Maybe he got a little Domino's. He's in the middle of a midlife crisis. He kind of looks terrible. But it's Sean Strickland. He doesn't have to look good. Something Sean Strickland said at the face-off that was funny. He said, Phil Hawes didn't go around with me and sparred, and Phil Hawes is the last guy to beat Nasruddin Imavov. I'm not overly impressed with Imavov. I think he's good, but I was not confident enough to be like, yo, I'm going to Imavov. He's going to beat a Sean Strickland. I know Sean's coming on short notice. There's some concerns. It's at 205. It's a very weird fight. And I tell you guys, proceed with caution on the betting side of this one. Imavov has become the favorite here. He's around -125. Sean Strickland around +119. I like the underdog Sean Strickland. He's got back-to-back UFC main events. That's never been done before, so congrats on that record. Hopefully he doesn't lose back-to-back UFC main events, but it's a ballsy move to come in on short notice. I don't think it will kill his stock, even if he is defeated, but I think what it's going to do is when he gets this win, the Sean Strickland hype is going way up because it takes balls to jump in against a savage like Nasruddin Imavov on very short notice. We're going Sean Strickland to get it done. Money line would be your best attack. The props, the over-unders, you're getting in risky territory here, man. I just kind of want to chill and just touch the money line, if anything. But I'm not even going to tell you guys to go hard at that because I think it's a real risky move. Sean Strickland, in an interview, he kind of pushed towards mentioning he wants the knockout. So that's why I'm picking the knockout side. It's +350 for KO. There's some value there, but I just don't feel good about it. I think Sean Strickland can do this thing. There's so many question marks. Imavov's gas tank, Strickland's gas tank coming in on short notice. Weird-ass fight. I think this is one where you sit back and just enjoy the hell out of the main event. You make some bets on other matchups. But if you have to bet the main event, I'm going dog money. I'm going Sean Strickland. I'm going the fucking ballsy Sean Strickland to take it on real short notice. Pretty fun card coming up for the UFC. Hype as hell. Now, I do want to give you guys the parlay to finish things out. I'm going safe shot parlay. I don't want to just give you guys value over everything. I want to go, what I'm kind of feeling like is high likelihood of success. So I think we look towards the side. I think you go Basharat. I think you go Charles Johnson. I think that you also add in the likes of Ketlen Vieira. +210. I like this one. You added in Soriano, you got plus 415. Is there more? This fight right here, I think Claudio Ribeiro has to come in because the money, plus 888 for that. What's the under? Under's not good enough for that. I think this is a decent little play. I went deep with the parlays on this week's Best MMA Bets, so you definitely can check those out. This is the Off the Dome parlay right here at plus 888. I do think these fighters get it done. Of course, you're in risky territory, man, because this is the first card back of the year. Don't go too crazy because it's going to be a wild one. I cannot wait for it. It's UFC Vegas 67, back with the vengeance. Much love, my people. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Make sure to turn those post notifications on and smash the hell out of the like button here. And make sure to join me for my live stream. I'll be live for the entire card. So come through, enjoy my play-by-play, and chat it up with me. Much love, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.